Welcome back, Minnesota gardeners, to our shrub pruning video series. I'm Julie Weisenhorn. I'm a University of Minnesota Extension horticulture educator, and I am here in the beautiful Bailey Shrub Walk at the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum. We are going to be doing some pruning, and we're going to prune some plants that we all love. They're our early spring blooming plants. Now, all of these plants bloom about the same time, and they all start to set buds, flower buds, for next year about 3 or 4 weeks after they bloom. If you can get in and prune within a couple of weeks of blooming, that's ideal. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Our lives get busy, so we might have to sacrifice some flower buds for next year for some good form. But today we're in the right time, right frame, and we're going to go ahead and do some pruning. So let's get started. So we're going to start with our Syringa vulgaris. This is a common lilac. Lilacs live to be 100 years old. There's a big breeding program up in Canada, so they're very, very hardy here from Minnesota. And they range in colors from pure white flowers all the way to like dark, dark purple. Really, really fabulous. And the scent is truly a harbinger of spring. We're going to start by taking out some of the bigger stems. They have a large diameter and they're blocking a lot of light to newer stems. So we're going to go ahead and take those out. It's going to leave a big change to this plant, but that's okay. And we're going to also clean up along the bottom here. We've got a lot of suckers that are kind of making an irregular shape, not a very nice form. So we're going to be taking those out as well. We'll also do some heading back. This plant, as you can see, is kind of growing into the pathway. And from a safety standpoint, and for our visitors here at the Arboretum, we're going to just head this back so that it's not infringing on the path. So I've got my tools ready to go. I have my pruner, my hand pruner, I have a lopper, and I have a tree saw. And those should be the only tools that we're going to need for pruning. So now that we've actually been doing some pruning, we can kind of start to see some of the dead branches that are emerging here. So this is obviously pretty unsightly. It did bloom, which was great, but a lot of dead areas. We're going to start by taking it down to this crotch here. So you can see that we have done a lot of thinning here. But this one really bothers me. For one thing, it's infringing on the path here. And I think that we need to take it out completely. One of the ways that you can do this, because this is kind of a big cut, and you might be afraid of doing something like this, but just have somebody hold it back and then stand back and look at the plant. I think it's actually going to help with the form. Plus, from a hazardous walking and accessibility, it's going to be much better for our visitors here at the Arb. So I'm going to actually bring this branch back to this crotch right here, and I'm going to use my lopper for that. Much better. One of our favorite old-time spring blooming shrubs is the Van Hoot spirea. It has big drooping branches with clusters of white flowers that are very attractive to pollinators. We're going to work on this plant today. It really doesn't need a lot of severe pruning, just a little bit of cleanup around the bottom to give us that nice vase-shaped look that we like. Now, one of these plants could also be coppiced, which means cutting it down to the ground if it's really become overgrown. But we're not going to do that today. We're just going to clean this one up, maybe take off some of these dead ends also that we need. So earlier this spring, we did some pruning here on this cotinus or smoke bush. It's a beautiful plant, wonderful colored foliage, and really interesting flower heads that are the smoke of the smoke bush. But we can see now that we've got some dead branches that we didn't notice earlier in the spring. I'm going to take those out right now so that it won't infringe on the beauty of the plant.